Hey. Do you believe in ghosts? Well, if you don't, that's too bad, because there are a lot of folks who do, for a good reason. My name is Brom Bones. I'm here to tell you a story, a true story, mind you, about something that happened not too far from here. You see, you cross a small port of Tarrytown. You come to a little valley with high hills, what they call Sleepy Hollow. I grew up there. Made my living training horses and whatnot. Oh, it's a magical place. Quietest spot on earth. Kind of makes you drowsy to visit there. Well, I guess that's why they called it what they called it. Now, some people think the place is haunted. They say some German doctor or long-dead Indian chief or even some wizard bewitched the place. I don't know about that, but I do know one thing. Let me show you something. Over here we got the graveyard of Sleepy Hollow. Now somewhere among all them tombstones, you'll find buried a German soldier. Interesting thing about this soldier. Lost his head during the Revolutionary War. Really? Got blown clean off by a cannonball. Yow! I guess that's why some people think the place is haunted. Well, makes you wonder, don't it? Now to the story. You see, some time ago, Sleepy Hollow found itself with a new schoolmaster by the name of Ichabod Crane. Ichabod Crane. That name certainly fit the fella. Ichabod Crane, all tall and lanky. Ichabod Crane, with long arms and long legs and feet like shovels. Now, the Holy Bible defines the name of Ichabod as the glory has departed. Well, you just take one look at him and you know his name. He owned one suit, 2 shirts, 2 neckties, a pair of stockings, 1 set of underwear, a broken pitch pipe, and 1 rusty razor. He owned 4 books, a book of hymns, a book of dreams and fortune-telling, a New England almanac, and being a superstitious fellow, a book of witchcraft. Odd fellow, that one. Now, all the children of the town used to make fun of him as he made his way to the school every day. They said he looked like one of them scarecrows escaped from the field.
He's so skinny.
A window knock him over.
That or a feather.
Look at the scarecrow.
Ichabod's schoolhouse was a dilapidated, rickety piece of work that flooded every time it rained. It had only 1 room, and the broken windows were pasted together with pieces and pages of old schoolbooks. But the children were there to learn, and Ichabod was a stern teacher. It wasn't that he was cruel or anything like that, but he kept control in the old-fashioned way. He handed out his justice in the fairest way he knew. The weak and timid were spared, while the stubborn and wrong-headed were given a double dose. All this he called doing his duty by their parents.
Spare the rod and spoil the child.
Ichabod lived and ate at the houses of the farmers in town, the ones whose children he taught. This was a necessity for all schoolmasters, since they were paid very little. But especially for old Ichabod, since even though he was thin, he had the eating capacity of an anaconda snake. Woo! That boy could eat. And to make up for it, he'd help out with chores, mending fences, cutting wood, and whatnot. He'd even watch the children of the family, holding one on one knee as he rocked a cradle with the other foot. Still, he was always hungry and always in need of some money. To increase his earnings, one evening each week he taught the church choir to sing psalms from the Bible.
La la la, wa dee da, dee da da da, lee da dee do.
On Sundays, he would lead the chorus and was even able to make a few more coins by giving singing lessons to the local folk. It was here he met the beautiful and wealthy Katrina Van Tassel. I'll get back to her in a moment. The truth is, Ichabod was an odd mix. He was intelligent and superstitious at the same time, and loved the tales of mysterious happenings around Sleepy Hollow. The more he heard, the more he wanted. After choir, as the evening dew fell, he'd sulk homeward, his imagination running wild, set off by the surrounding countryside. Every sound would make him uneasy, and the rustling cattle, or chirping crickets, or hooting owl would set him into a full fright. When the poor boy was spooked, he would sing his psalms at the top of his voice. Back to Katrina Van Tassel, one of Ichabod's singing students and the only daughter of the wealthy Dutch farmer named Baltus Van Tassel. Now, she was a blooming fresh girl of 18, plump and rosy-cheeked. Ichabod Crane easily and immediately fell in love with her, attracted by her intelligence, her charm, and her radiant beauty. But that was his first big mistake. You see, Katrina was my girl. Ichabod was now playing with fire. What made matters even worse is that Katrina seemed to enjoy all the attention he was giving her. So when Katrina turned her fancy to the schoolmaster, well, first I wanted to fight him. But I found other ways, more creative ways of getting at him. Yep, I stopped up the chimney. And there was the one night me and the boys broke into the schoolhouse at night and turned everything topsy-turvy and upside down. Ichabod was certain that witches in the neighborhood had wreaked havoc on the place. My favorite gag I pulled whenever that scarecrow of a man visited the Van Tassel farm for singing lessons. And he visited that farm far too many times for my liking. I'd imagine he did it on purpose, just to be near her. Taught my dog to howl when he heard Ichabod sing. Wasn't hard to do, actually. This kind of thing put old Ichabod in a frazzled state of mind, which was the idea. Then came a day, late in October, the day before Halloween. Old Van Tassel sent out invitations to attend a festive evening of merrymaking, to be held at the farmhouse. Ichabod got an invitation too, and his spirits were high. He dismissed school early and ran home to get dressed up in his finest clothes. He borrowed a horse from the Dutchman he was staying with that week. A wretched thing of a horse, actually, all surly and broken down, with a rusty, burr-infested mane and tail. One of the beast's eyes was blind, while the other had the fire of the devil himself in it. Gunpowder was its name. The poor thing had seen better days and was on its last legs. Ichabod mounted Gunpowder with all the dignity of the knights of old days. That didn't stop him from looking like a giant grasshopper riding a horse. He rode to the Van Tassel home, enjoying the sights and smells of autumn. And as he watched the sun set with a crimson and yellow glow, he dreamed of Katrina. Lovely Katrina. When Ichabod arrived, he found the merriment had already begun. All the townsfolk were dancing and making merry. I was there too with my horse, Daredevil, there to see him frolic onto the dance floor, that gangly scarecrow. During this entire spectacle, his dance partner was none other than Katrina, who seemed to enjoy it very, very much. Devil take that boy. And when Ichabod entered the Van Tassel parlor, he made a beeline for the banquet table. There, spread out before him, were platters of cakes, trays of doughy donuts, crumbling crullers, sweet cakes, ginger cakes, honey cakes, apple pies, peach pies, pumpkin pies, hams and smoked beef, broiled shad and roasted chickens, bowls of milk and cream, and a giant teapot sending the rapturous vapor of sweet steam all around. The boy had made it to heaven. Ichabod was in his glory, which increased as he imagined one day marrying Miss Van Tassel and becoming lord of all this luxury and splendor. Then, after dinner, all the folk gathered for storytelling.
Gather around for some stories. Now, this is the time of year that spirits like the best. I don't know why it is. The cooling of the earth seems to call them from their eternal sleep. Now, you may have heard of the woman in white who haunts the dark glen at Raven Rock. Yes, she was on her way home one evening when a sudden snowstorm caught her out in the open. She tried to take shelter in a cleft of rock, but it did her no good. She froze to death. And to this day, you can still hear her bone-chilling shrieks at dawn right before a storm. But perhaps our best-known story begins in the town graveyard, where we have buried a headless Hessian soldier. That's right, lost his head from a cannonball. And every night he rides in search of a new head to replace the one that's missing. The headless horseman rides tonight, begarbed in robes of black, to bear a being from the earth, never to bring him back. He is evil's foul embodiment, with laughter on his breath. The headless horseman rides tonight, the minister of death. Fearful thing happened to me the other day. I ran into that horseman. I did, out there by the tree where Major Andre was hanged at the hands of British soldiers. Oh, I saw him. In the dead of night, he come up behind me, and I challenged that specter to a race. He on his goblin horse, and I on Daredevil. And race we did faster and faster and faster, until suddenly, when we reached the plank bridge, the Hessian bolted in a flash of sparks and light. A puff of smoke, and gone. But he'll be back again. Oh, yes. I can promise you that. The headless horseman rides tonight. He rides the wind alone. Beneath his arm, he tightly tucks his head, a gleam and bone. His voice is harsh and hollow. It is horrible to hear. The headless horseman rides tonight to fill the earth with fear. The very witching hour of night is upon us. I'd be careful out there if I were you. Have a good ride home, ladies and gentlemen. The headless horseman rides tonight, begarbed in robes of black, to bear a being from the earth, never to bring him back. He is evil's foul embodiment, with laughter on his breath. The headless horseman rides tonight, the minister of death.
Ichabod Crane.
The next morning, Ichabod's horse was found out grazing in the middle of a field, but no Ichabod. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner came and went, but no Ichabod. The children went to school, no schoolmaster, no director for the church choir. All that was found was Ichabod's horse, his saddle, and beside it a shattered pumpkin. The brook was searched, but the body of the schoolmaster was never found. Now, some are thinking that Ichabod is living elsewhere, keeping his distance from the apparition. All the old country wives know better. No, they say he was spirited away by supernatural means. What do you think?